amount of time while the owner custodian therefore of is physically absent from the property, where the dog is tethered. No dog shall be tethered for any amount of time in inclement, adverse, or extreme weather conditions. This was brought up as a concern, by you two gentlemen and a speaker of the public. We recommended to strike that.
Why?
We're gonna put in the restrictions that the state requires, which is on the next page, is what we recommend.
Because
Yeah.
the part
I
where
was
it
gonna
says
say,
no
why
dog,
remove that?
no dog shall be tethered for any amount of time in inclement, adverse, and
Right.
extreme weather conditions.
He's got the next
Right.
page is a proposed
Next-
amendment.
The
so
next
let's read
page,
that.
the next page is what we replace it with, which is an exact mirror of what the state has put that you can't do. Now, the state has put it into the definition of adequate shelter, but still can't do it, so we need to adopt that by ordinance in our animal cruelty law, so that all officers and our citizens know exactly what conditions they can tether a dog in or not. So what we have here is the proposed adjustment is that the outdoor tethering of an animal should not constitute the provision of adequate shelter, A, unless the animal is safe from predators and well-suited and well-equipped to tolerate its environment, B, during the effective period for a hurricane warning or tropical storm warning issued for the area by the National Weather Service, or C, number one, during a heat advisory issued by a local or state authority, 2, when the actual or effective outdoor temperature is 85 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, or 32 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, or 3, during the effective period for a severe weather warning issued for the area by the National Weather Service, including a winter storm, tornado, or severe thunderstorm warning, unless an animal control officer having inspected an animal's individual circumstances in clause C 1, 2, or 3 has determined the animal to be safe from predators as well suited and well equipped to tolerate its environment. I know it's a lot more and it seems more restrictive, but that's,
If it's mirroring the state code.
yeah, it's exact.
The only
Exact
question that I
code.
had is 85 degrees. I mean, this is Southside Virginia.
I mean, that's the General Assembly's,
know,
what they said, so.
I mean, so you're talking about 5 months out of the
Right.
year.
Well, we didn't, but it does give the option for an animal control officer to go out there and say, hey, there's plenty of shade, there's shelter, it could be there, so. Look, the General Assembly sets the temperature, it wasn't us. So, we're just putting it there so people, all residents, you're gonna put it on municipal code right away, right? Can see when and when not, they can tether their dog, that way they know.
Any objections to striking the other and adding this amendment? You committee good?
Oh, yeah.
We good
And-
down
I
here?
think the angst with, was it Miss Mondry? I don't remember who was.
Well, I think Miss Mondry and I think Miss York, didn't she have an
It was
objection
the
to it?
fact of, are we gonna really have somebody sit in front of someone's house and watch for that hour?
No,
That's,
no,
this I think
yeah.
is a good,
this is better. The animal control officers driving around, they see a dog that's been out there hot and panting and no water, he would investigate, of course.
and obviously
yeah.
he already knows that it's probably been longer than an hour.
Right,
for that
right.
day.
So this sets no time limit, but it gives the people an exact, they know when they can and can't. The only thing I do recommend is, since this was in the definition of adequate shelter under state law, that we just change that first line to there shall be no tethering under these circumstances, and then go through all of it, if that's okay. I think that would probably be, easier.
Basically, that's what it says. Is
Yeah.
that agreeable,
Yeah,
council?
he's just saying read it easier.
Yes.
Easier
Well,
read.
I mean,
Well,
Bullet,
you
but
know,
I always like bullet points.
I
will tell
can't
you.
stand all this whereas and who has.
that's just
either,
law. But as a matter of law, I mean, it's saying you can't tether during this, but it's also saying it's not meeting the provision of adequate shelter. The problem is we haven't defined adequate shelter in this, so I either need to add a definition of adequate shelter, or we just take that out and just say, hey, no tethering during these periods.
So
Would that be okay?
that seems fair. I just have a general question. If we're charging somebody under this code,
Mm-hmm.
would we be letting the county or the state police charge them under their code? So that way they have to handle all the legal fees and all the fees going with this?
That's a good question.
Sort of like when you, there's some other codes around that we make sure we don't charge our town code.
If you don't mind, Mr. Alman, Mr. Norbert, we are doing that with all stuff with the PD. We're selectively choosing which way we're writing. Is that right, Sergeant?
That's right. Yeah.
Charge state code under class 1 and class 2.
I think, I think,
They're not required for legal representation as far as court appointed, so class 3, class 4 are not required. So
it wouldn't be a burden on the taxpayers of Blackstone by charging through the town code for something like this, which would be a class.
This is an offense that is severe, more severe. The second time is a class 2. The first one's a class 4.
I would just ask,
class what?
4.
even
So
though-
you could always write the second one as class 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
anything we can write under state code rather than our town code.
Right,
so-
right.
So we're not responsible from there on.
I think that's policy.
Right.
Is that policy, Mr. Manager?
Yeah, I don't want us to be getting into the police going and say, hey, yeah, you need to write it. They know that better than we do.
They do,
I
they
agree.
do, and I think we leave it to them. Is that good with y'all?
I agree. I still think it's important to have it in here, because those citizens are gonna look, under the definition under state law of adequate shelter to find out in the definition
They're
part,
not gonna go reference something else. that
what,
you're-
when and when they can't do their tethering. So it's important for us to have,
And it's more, like, we're putting it in here more as informational. This is what you're gonna be charged with through the state.
Right.
Just an easier way to read it.
yeah.
If
and
that's
it's all under
agreeable.
one document.
And I think it would be the first time we would write it under class 4, because there is some cost for enforcement. We would hope that we'd get some of it back after they have to pay a fine. But the second time where it becomes more severe, we write it under state. Yeah, I would think.
Okay. All right, I guess the next, everybody good?
Yes.
Okay, we're moving along here good, folks. I'm kinda liking this. Section 14138, Mr. Chairman,
This is your dog and tax license.
okay,
And,
might be some discussion here.
let's, yeah, now, I think on our end, we've looked at it every way, and I don't want anybody to think that we haven't taken your concerns into account. But through this entire process, we've looked at how important is licensing, what's the reason for it, how does it stop and make the community safer? Is it needed for what we're trying to do? Are there other options? We were hoping to hear some proposals. We got some today. We thought one was good. So I would like for us to debate whatever issues you have now, but I do have a proposal to put in place on this. But if there's something you want to talk about licensing, I think we should talk about it, because
Well, I think, go ahead, Mr. Miller.
Look here, you said, no license shall be levied under this section of any dog that is trained and served as a service dog for a blind person, that is trained and served as a hearing dog for deaf or hearing impaired persons. You forgot to, a service dog can also be for the veterans and all that.
Yeah.
So you
Pretty
need,
much any
so this,
deemed-
but it should be veteran put in there.
yeah, so
Yeah, PSD, whatever it
Yeah,
is.
you got PTSD and
That's
all
what
that.
I'm-
That needs
yeah.
to be put in there.
Well, it has mobility where?
well, it says the owner, so it doesn't matter what the owner is. The service dog shall mean a dog trained to accompany its owner. It could be a veteran, it could be an elderly, it could be a child, it could be anything. But the state law puts that exemption there that we have to put in the licensing. So that's an exact copy of how the state has wrote that exemption.
I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
but I agree with Mr. Miller, and I'm not sure you answered that.
Right.
So again, I'm not a country lawyer, but this, if I'm reading this correctly, is you cannot charge, any fee to these folks that are listed, but I don't see where, a dog, I have a good friend that has a dog that served 20-some years in the military. That
It's
has
a
that.
guide dog, right?
That- Yeah, I mean, it's a companion, whatever it
Right,
is,
that's what it is.
but I don't see, I
I
don't
don't
see
see
where
where he's
that.
got nothing in there that covers
I
that.
think
me
the
take a look.
problem is.
Let me take a
what-
look.
What Paige is talking about is if we're talking about a license tag that's state mandated, the state doesn't allow us to get an exemption except for what they say.
Okay.
And this is the only thing that they said in their state code. I read it as well.
Oh, well, that's different, Mr. Miller.
I want to
don't
see
agree
that
with it
code. I
either.
want to see that code.
I mean, it reads exactly
I
like
wanna
this one.
see it.
I can tell you.
It does, it's exact read of it. The
Tell
state,
you what, when after I see it, I'll go downtown. You can believe that.
so let me see that. It says no license tax shall be levied under this section on any dog that is trained and serves as a guide dog for a blind person, that is trained and serves as a hearing dog for a deaf or hearing impaired person, or serves as a service dog for a mobility impaired person, or as a police or detection dog used by a local, state, or federal agency.
Well, if you reading it and it's exact, then I take your word. Exact is exact.
The service dog part handles the vet, because down here it says service dog means a dog trained to accompany its owner for the purpose of carrying items, retrieving objects, pulling a wheelchair, or other such activities. I think it does cover that, it just doesn't say the word veteran,
And
cause you're
can I
talking,
say something?
Please, Ms. Williams has the
I
yeah,
floor.
it's
think we
three
don't need
different
to get-
exemptions, sir.
Easy, Ms. Williams has the floor.
I feel that we don't need to get caught up in every little piece of literature and title because we know that if you have a dog, a service dog as a veteran, you're gonna have your paperwork on you anyway. Some kids at college now, they have their papers, they carry the dogs in their dorm because they have anxiety and stuff like that. So if we list the veterans, we gotta list this, and this. I think the police can do a good job in investigating all of that. Let's leave that to them.
I think one thing we could do to make that a little more clear, because I know it looks like it's one exception, but it's an exception for three different types. A blind person, a hearing, a person for a deaf person, or a service dog for an owner who is mobility impaired person, which is,
But when you say mobility, does that include mental? Like you said, PTSD or anxiety, that's not a mobility.
it doesn't define it, it defines the service dog, which would mean a
Right.
dog trained to accompany an owner to carrying items, retrieving objects, pulling, I would think it'd be any owner.
Yes.
You know, I
It's,
agree
it's
with
a
Ms.
broad,
Williams.
it's a broad
You can
meaning.
write a book this thick, but common sense dictates that you
But-
better, you know, our folks had better take care of our veterans.
We can number,
Should be all along.
we can number one, a dog for the blind person, number two, the hearing dog, number three, we can go into the service dog for the
I
mid.
think it's too much. It's
Yeah.
there. Let the
Yeah,
owners do
the
that.
owner cover,
Okay.
the owner's a broad, the word owner is a broad definition,
right.
very
I think
broad.
I hope and pray that no veteran gets a ticket.
No, no,
Why
no,
would
no.
they get
Swear to God,
No.
I hope they don't. Because
I don't
you
see
have
why
to
they would.
clarify it.
He
But
would
it's
be,
a state law,
if the
so-
dog is a service dog, he would be exempted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, before we get caught in too much minutia, I want to bring this up. Right, the state code our goal at the end of this is to have licensed dogs, correct? So we're trying to provide safety and abide by the state mandate for a dog license. Under that same state code, it provides our county to be able to designate places or other treasurers as people that can collect and give out their tags. I would offer that we have that done for our treasurer, to where she can give out tags and give out the licenses for the county, and then we can enforce said county code instead of doubling up what we're doing. I think it effectively does what we're trying to do without doubling it. Does that
And
make
just so
sense?
you know, it pays the treasurer $1 per tag. It says that in that code.
And I would ask that
Okay,
we
let-
take,
Mr. Allman, go ahead.
I would ask, and this wasn't an original idea to me, I would ask that we present the county, we wanna keep those funds to fund our own part-time animal control duties. That would, where we don't have to have our own licensing department, but we still get dogs licensed and we still get it enforced, and our end goal is still complete without charging $10 double to each citizen.
You know, and it's a great idea, and we were just talking about possibly us keeping 70% and them 30, but now that you bring up that code, you're right, they only give us $1 a tag. So we're gonna have to,
That's a dollar really.
if they're gonna provide it, well, it's supposed to cover a little bit of administration costs, but I would think they would have to provide the applications, they would have to provide the tags, we provide the service. But the rest of the program is gonna have to be 100% taxpayer funded. And if we can, and if you're talking the cost for the animal control officer, the cost for the vehicles, the cost for housing anything that we impound over at the animal shelter, those things are gonna cost.
No, wait,
Well, I
just,
think
Medical
vehicles
expenses.
Already, we're gonna be paying for a vehicle.
I
whether it be
agree,
a
I agree.
cruiser or it be a truck. It's gonna be the same cost.
But we're not, and even though this was never gonna be 100% sufficient, self-sufficient, now it's gonna be 100% on the burden of our citizens, everybody, not just dog owners. So I just want you to realize that, and I'm willing to postpone the licensing and give you guys an opportunity to pursue that.
all right,
But I'd like to see the rest of it get through, and I'd like to see that we immediately change our display requirement, that people display the county tag. So that we can enforce county
Is
licensing.
is that already a requirement through the county?
No, only if they're not, they don't have an at-large law, but they have a requirement that if it's ran off, if it's property by itself.
The second thing that I was gonna ask when it deals with that is talking about the at-large law. There are, through the county, they can make their own districts where you can't have at-large dogs at all. So right now, you can have at-large dogs in the county, but they can designate, I don't know if it's specific municipalities, but I do know that they can designate certain subdivisions, which almost everything in Blackstone's been broken into a subdivision at some point. They can designate those subdivisions where you can't have at-large dogs at all. And what that also does is it kinda goes back to what we were talking about, the state code with animal cruelty, where the county's animal control officer is then taking possession of that animal from us and doing that charge to where it's not on the burden of taxpayers to see that to court.
Well,
And say, it takes that cost away from us if it's written through the county. We'd have to
Well,
get them to agree to
you're
it.
talking about the display?
Well, I think that the display would come along with the dogs at large ordinance from the county, is what I'm
So
saying.
you're saying.
They don't have one
create
that long.
Blackstone as a subdivision? I think he's saying
I think
ask
that
if
a-
the county would create.
Right,
A
so,
subdivision.
and, okay, so let's talk about that. First of all, it'd been nice to have that brought up before we went and met with the county, okay? And and I'm gonna say that we did ask you guys for your input, and I'm hearing it, every time we're getting input back from you, it's on the day that we have a public hearing or the day that we're trying to iron it out, instead of communicating with us in advance so that we can pursue those options, see if it could
I
work.
was under the impression that's what this work session was for.
That is what this work session is for.
Well, I get it, but it's, you know, if you would've gave us a call, we could've looked into it, but
Again,
again,
we're learning by this.
I get it, I
I
get it.
don't see anything malicious here.
No,
And
Did
this
we
is,
have a meeting with the county?
yes, we have.
Oh, I thought you were referring to what, never mind.
Yeah, no, no,
I
no.
thought you were referring to, never mind, gotcha.
We had a meeting with me, Ben, Philip, the chief of police, the Commonwealth attorney, the county administrator, the animal control, I mean, you know, just saying, ideas are great, we want them from you, but we need time to look into them. This could delay the relief our citizens have asked us to give them, okay? You're talking about the county redoing its ordinances and actually getting it right, getting it through their staff, getting it through Board of Supervisors and passing it. We're talking a large delay. The display, they don't have, okay? That's just plain and simple. And I don't think they're gonna pass one in the next 30 days. We're concerned that if a dog bite happens tomorrow, we would like a better chance of the dog being, that we know it's vaccinated, okay? So we can let y'all work all that out, but I think we should still pass the display of county tags, okay, on your collar, if your dog is out with you, off your property. And that way we can, and try to enforce that.
well,
We
is
see
there any
people without-
objection, hold on, any objection to having our own display of the county license?
Yeah,
No, I don't have an
Okay.
objection to that, I
Okay.
was just saying, I thought it would come along with the special
Well-
special district for at-large animals.
well, if that changes later, we can come back and take this out, but now our officers can start getting people warnings for not having county licenses, okay? And if they don't have a county license in 10 days, we can come back and follow up and give them a summons. And we can start enforcing that and getting these dogs licensed.
Right, Mr. Miller has a point, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a proposal.
So my question is, so are you eliminating the $10 that you was proposing
We're
for
gonna
here?
postpone it and see what the county has to say, if we can issue it for them
Let me
instead.
tell you why, is that all right? May I have the floor?
Yeah,
The reason is, Mr. Miller, I'm gonna make a proposal. I would like y'all to authorize me to work with the chair and the vice chair and get this to the board level on the things that we need, okay, to make this work. And that would be that we could be their issuing agency for the tags, for the licensing, because, and I don't wanna get back to talking about the past, but you kinda scolding them about new ideas. You've changed my mind 3 times, okay? You understand? That's why we're here.
not at this meeting I did it.
Well-
We've been doing that over
But
2 month
listen,
period.
We're here to
Yeah.
come to a consensus. And we're gonna change our minds, and we're gonna work together. That's what we're here for.
That's right.
All right, I would like council to authorize me and Philip to meet with the chair and the vice chair and pass along the things we want to make this work. And that would be for us to be able to issue here their tags, to explore the possibility of making this a subdivision. You have any objection to that? So we can, you know what he's talking about? Are you good with that?
I'm good with that,
Okay.
but I would like the display law that we have in here.
Well, they
Yeah,
just said
yeah,
they don't
I just make
object to
sure.
it. I don't
Okay,
understand.
okay.
That's already,
I don't
should
understand.
be.
I don't
It's not,
understand.
yeah,
They're not objecting to that.
Right, okay.
I'd like to go to them and say, we want your tags, we'll issue your tags, and we want a portion or all of that money to help us pay for what we're doing, which is, you know, that's the county's responsibility.
But
Okay.
assisting them as
Well,
much as
that-
we can.
Exactly.
that loss-
exactly.
that
Now,
loss-
let
yeah,
me
yeah.
finish and you can rebut me.
Yeah.
I'd like 30 days to talk to them. My proposal is to leave the licensing out. Pass this ordinance where we are right now. Give me 30 days to ascertain whether there is traction for us to partner with the county and for us to use their licensing for us to get the stuff we need. And I like to know the dogs are vaccinated. I like to know where if you pick the dog up, can I carry it home instead of taking it to the shelter? I'll use their licensing, and I think everybody could agree to that. Give me 90 days, and at that time, if I say, look, that's not gonna work, they're not gonna do it, then I say yes. Then we need to bring it back. We've already had the public hearing, we can bring back the licensing, and we can take it up then. I'm asking for a chance to let me work with them, 30 days to ascertain whether it's gonna work, and I'll report back to you, 90 days to have something in writing. A memorandum of understanding, or what, I don't know. But to have it, here it is, here's your proof. That's what I'm asking for.
And
to
it may
get-
not be something that can be done until their budget season, which is our budget
But,
season as
but I
well.
want something from them is we're gonna play ball, we're authorizing you to do this, that, and the other, okay? And then that would bring, I agree with y'all, the committee, we need licensing. I understand I agree with him. We don't need to double tax the citizens, okay? So let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot to do the licensing through the county. And if that doesn't work, then come back and let's talk about doing it our own.
As long, I'm okay with, we can talk to you guys about this. Just to pursue one last option, and if the citizens are listening, I want to say it, get your dog licensed, please. It is for the health of the community, for rabies outbreaks. It allows us to identify dogs and keep them out of the shelter. But for
Get
the
on your
sake of,
soapbox- Get on your soapbox
for
after
the
we
sake-
finish my issue.
but for the
okay?
sake of getting these dogs licensed and opportunity, I'm willing to make a motion to postpone 14136, 14137, and 14138.
How about layman's terms, okay? All right, so all of that, hold on, Mr. Almond, are you agreeable for the manager and I to try to get us to the point that we're issuing their tags and we're requiring as a town ordinance that they display the tag, and we don't have to start a new system of licensing? I think everybody would get what they want.
One
I agree.
process, one tag.
Yes, sir.
Done
Amen.
deal.
No double
Amen.
Our
So this
treasurer
will
does
still
it.
be postponed and on the table in
Right.
case it doesn't
Exactly.
happen.
That this work,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly,
yeah, that's-
exactly.
I can't imagine they'd be against.
Well, that's what I was in the middle of.
Well, I know,
motion.
but,
You know.
so
They
give
might be
me,
against giving us their money.
Yeah, letting somebody else.
Well-
That's $1. What's that?
give me 30 days, give me
$116.
30 days to find out if they're cool with it, and then give me 90 days, and I might come back to you and say, hey, they're all for it, but they don't work quick as y'all do. But I will be honest with you, I want what's right. If we talk to them and Philip and I agree, hang on, do this, then I promise I'll be the one to bring the licensing back up.
Okay.
Is that fair? Is that agreeable? Okay.
Like I said, all along, and I've told Chris, I told him just a little while ago, the spirit of it was great, the whole thing. It was just, obviously, we hear the little angst, and I agree with Wes, sometimes it's best, it'd be nice to hear it, but I don't know if there's a better way for that. This has been perfect, doing this.
We gotta get the dogs licensed, and that was our goal. And the reason we did it that way is historically the county hasn't done a good job. And if we can work it out to where we're enforcing it, the county law, making sure people have license, I'm fine with that. I'm willing to give you the time. And with that, I can make a motion to
Well, hold on,
postpone
we're
that
gonna do
now.
all that Monday,
Oh,
okay?
okay.
We're gonna do all that Monday, yes,
That
sir.
was what I was gonna ask. I was asking if we can just agree by common
Yes,
consent tonight,
yes.
so that way.
Wanna hear from y'all,
public has a
y'all
chance.
equally put a lot of meetings and stuff into this.
Yeah, but I think that's fair enough. I mean,
Okay.
it's a compromise.
90-day
ways.
postponement, yeah, okay.
And it's a win-win.
And that.
You
and
have my
then-
word, if Philip or I, we don't see this happening, we'll be right back here, it'll be on the agenda, okay?
Yeah, don't have to wait the 90 days or
Miss-
30 days.
Miss
May I
Williams,
say something?
yes, ma'am.
I'm being the devil advocate at almost 8:30. We're all in agreement today.
Right.
So when Monday, when the public come to us angry and requesting stuff, we're not gonna keep coming back to the table
Well, I
with
think
us.
we've addressed, Chris has
But
addressed
I'm just saying,
everything except
but
for the
it could be
chicken
something
one.
different. It could
But
be
that's
something
gonna
different.
come.
We don't wanna keep coming back over and over, so if we're in agreement tonight, don't
Let's
care
stay
what
in
come our
there.
way Monday, we're gonna say yes and keep on going.
Let's
We
stay
can't
agreed.
keep coming back.
Well,
So-
hold on just a minute. You know, we continue this meeting. If it's important to you, Ms. Williams, make a motion, to knock it out right now. We think it probably would look a little bit better,
If you
might
didn't
smell a
approve
little
the
bit better to do it Monday. But I mean, if it's that important to you, then, you know, y'all speak through your motions.
The only reason or one of the only reasons I'm pushing to wait till Monday, I had citizens that asked if they needed to be here tonight to speak and do public comment. Are you voting on anything? And when I heard work session, typically you don't vote in work sessions. I told them, hey, you know, you watch it on YouTube. If you have any comments on it, you'll be able to make them on Monday when we have our regular meeting. And even though it seems like we're all in agreement, and I don't have any reason to wait till Monday, it probably would be better just to get it out of the way for our agreements. I just don't think it's right to the citizens.
Right. I agree with you, but however, what I'm saying is that if somebody come in here with something totally different that we wasn't prepared for, we're not gonna.
Well, I'd say we've
Look
debated
forward to
this
the
about
end.
more
We're
than.
still gonna be on
yeah.
one accord, then we'll come back to the worst section, and we'll keep on improving on what we're doing.
Well, typically, I love y'all. I'm just gonna keep it real. But if you get enough people up there screaming and hollering at us, we all right back to
Right back where
square
we were.
one.
Right.
And I will say this, and Philip, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but our duty was to have an ordinance. I mean, to have a public hearing on the proposed ordinance. And if I'm not mistaken, we can go back from that, but we can't add to it. We've taken a
public hearing.
right. We've done all that. So yes, I see your point, but I also, like I told you today on the phone, I mean, I'm looking both ways, and I can understand. I do have anxiety. And I want to hear from the public. We gave them that chance, but at the end of the day, the 7 of y'all were elected to handle the business of the town.
I think everything has been addressed that the public brought up, and I
And
don't think there's really anything that will be.
I,
Well, to the extent that the chickens, you wrap, I mean, and that was brought up.
well,
We didn't do anything with the chicken rules. I mean, that is still as it was and
If
can
you
be
don't-
enforced as it is.
If you don't mind, can we get through this?
Yeah,
and
I'm
bring the
just saying,
chickens up?
we
Yeah.
don't want to get wrapped around the axle when it's Monday night and somebody comes up there to talk about chickens again.
Agree, and that's why I
Because
also
this is
think
what
we
we were
should
asked to
take
do.
some of the blame from Philip and say, look, you sent those letters out, but hold for a second, let us look at this
Well-
before we go and push that.
and whether this passes or not, the chicken law is gonna stay the same.
Correct.
So I just think we
That's what
just
I'm
send it to
trying to say.
committee again.
Well, we'll see about,
Agreed.
we might be able to just,
We don't want to hold up.
we
what
might not
got
have to do it at committee
completed.
level.
Right.
We got a
Not
light
because of
schedule Monday
chickens.
night, there's a possibility Philip might wanna take it up, boom,
Hmm.
boom, bam, okay? I
Um,
wanna give y'all a rest, man.
I think that chicken
I
thing
mean,
needs
I'm
its own public
serious.
hearing.
I don't want to
You
talk
got
about
Y'all
those coming in.
Yeah, somebody came in.
Oh, you touched it, oh,
Is that a hint for us to go?
yeah.
That's the nod,
there, we're
that's a
almost
nod
there.
detector, so you nodded off back there, that's what it was.
Can I get clarification real quick by what you just said? So Monday night, everybody seems to be in agreement, and I will, maybe tomorrow or Friday, you can come by and we can put the new things in that you're taking out and make sure everything is correct on it. But what you said just a few minutes ago is that if you do make a motion to approve it, it would exclude 14, 136, 137, and 138.
Page 19.
Actually,
Correct.
actually,
That's about the license.
hold on one second, and I was trying to say that for the clerk, but let me give you the sections, 136 through,
138 is what you said earlier.
it's gonna go further than that, it's gonna go all the way to 142.
So 136 to
142. 142.
Okay.
One,
Is it possible,
One-
Chairman, that you can work with the clerk and have us by the close of business Friday, what we're actually gonna vote on? Is that possible?
We want it in the packet,
Okay,
and
so yes, the answer is yes.
I would strongly suggest too that the compromise and the resolution to the issues that were brought up be highlighted, pointed out, bold text, red, whatever it takes, and possibly even touched on as they were here tonight, Reader's Digest version, so that people know that what they said meant something. You know what I mean?
Good job, brother.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm just saying because if you don't, then you could hear some of the same again.
what I would like to do though is make a motion to postpone the licensing for 90 days. We didn't have anybody come up here and yell, "Oh, I want this double tax right now." Go ahead and pass it. We had the ones that did speak. There was 1 for and there was 4 against. So I
I'd
don't
rather
think.
not pass anything tonight.
Don't get me wrong, that
Unless
sounds,
Ms. Williams,
that
we
sounds great
won't
to me, but I don't
Knock
want
it
to vote on
out, we'll
anything.
knock it out.
All right. Just Madam Clerk, it's also going to take out 144.
you tell everybody what you're taking out. You're not referring to anything we haven't discussed,
It's
right?
anything that has to, I'm looking at it, anything
Do
that
with
pertains to
license.
tags and
Yeah,
licensing.
everything that is pertaining to tax and fees.
It's gonna
I
post,
trust Chris.
right, except the display,
Well, you
except,
got that on video, man.
You forgot this is on the record, right?
that is on
So
record.
now, when I present this in the packet, am I taking these
off
sections out? 'Cause
No.
that's gonna,
The-
we're gonna leave them in there, but when we make the motion, they will be,
I think it's a repeal and replace, and if they do come in later, the section codes would still be proper. In order to keep it to where we don't have to have another public hearing on it.
We don't have to have any
but when
more.
you make the motion, you can exclude those
Yeah.
sections you said.
To postpone those, that way they're still on the table, yeah,
Yeah, just
I
make the
would
word
say-
postpone.
yeah.
Listen,
Anyway, I can
listen,
get a
I'm
copy
gonna
of
add,
it
I'm sorry, sir.
from that. If there's any way I can get a copy of it removed separate from
But
the packet.
the thing about
I'm
it,
sure
just
everyone's gonna want it.
saying for like, take, that if you remove everything, then the numbering all changes.
Let me see if I can help, okay? I'm gonna be asking for a motion to authorize manager and I to speak with the county officials and postpone those sections for 90 days.
I'll create a list then and get it to you guys of the sections. I do wanna talk about obviously 142 is the display requirement, we'll have to change that from town to county, and then there is a, removal of tag ordinance, which is 143, being unlawful to remove somebody's tag from their animal without the permission. I think that should stay as well.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
Okay,
Was there anything else?
Nope.
Okay, I'm asking.
I'll get with her.
I'm asking, and I'll ask you, Chairman Page, would you offer a motion that would authorize the mayor and the manager to start talks about issuing the county license and us getting some funds to
You
do
want
it?
that motion Monday?
No,
to stay
I'm ready.
consistent?
I've been trying to make it all night.
Okay, I'm just trying to tell you, I spoke to members of the board of supervisors and they're gonna want to know.
If we're gonna stay consistent, let's just say that's.
I'd like to do it two separate motions though, because we've advertised the licensing, so let's make a motion to postpone those licensing sections that I just gave the clerk
We'll make the motion.
for
and we'll
90
see if we get the
days.
votes.
for 90
Go
days.
thinking they come on.
Yeah.
But that will be part of the
Oh, no.
ordinance Monday night.
Let's
right?
quit
So you don't-
dancing around and
It's
make
gonna
your
be-
motions what you want, and we'll see
Yeah.
if we can get it for
We're
you.
gonna make a motion to postpone the licensing portion of the ordinance for 90 days while the mayor and the
Town
administrator, town manager have discussions with the county about becoming an agent to issue county license.
You've heard the motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion
fact,
carries,
no.
huh?
For the sheer fact of, I would have preferred a motion.
Okay,
from council.
well,
Well, no,
motion
I'm
carries,
just confused, to be honest.
okay.
Me too.
I'm confused as to how, this isn't a current ordinance, so how are we voting to delay it?
We're postponing it. First of all, tabling is not a proper motion if you're gonna take it past the same day, all right? We made that mistake last time. Proper motion is to postpone the issue. We just postponed the licensing issue of the ordinance for 90 days, giving him the opportunity to speak to the county.
You
Look,
can give a
listen,
day
But
on
we
that.
didn't approve the whole
But
ordinance.
we didn't
Right.
approve it.
And I'm about to make a second motion to postpone the
well,
rest
wait a
of the
minute, wait a
ordinance
minute,
till
wait-
Monday.
If you don't mind,
Yeah.
okay, I read the room, I asked the council for me to go to the county, in 30 days report to you that I think we can work it out. If so, we'll continue, or in 30 days, I inform you, I do not think it's gonna work, and we will put it back on the agenda. That was my request, and I had a whole lot of head nodding. So that wouldn't require a motion. Because you're asking to table something that doesn't exist.
That's the only reason I said.
Okay.
I'm
What do you mean it doesn't exist? You're
'Cause it-
talking about yours. My motion was to postpone the licensing issue in this ordinance for 90
I
days.
just told you
Can't
that's what,
postpone something
But you
you
don't have
But
a license.
it's not passed yet. That's what
You don't
they're
have
trying
a
to.
license issue.
yeah.
You do not have a license thing in place. You understand what we're saying?
Right. But we have,
We're talking about adding it to it.
I guess you're postponing the proposal.
The proposal, that's what I'm
Right.
saying, the
That's what,
licensing
that's
portion
what I
of it.
asked you for. That's what I
Right.
asked for.
Yeah, no, the
proposal.
Okay,
licensing.
so you're muddying this up. I mean, I asked for this and everybody shook their head and that's what I asked the motion for. You know, it's not there. It's not there. So why can't we just, everybody seems to agree that Philip and I give us a chance to go.
I'm so confused right
Well, I
now.
am too, and there's no reason in it, and now here we are at the hour everybody gets cranky. So I'm just trying to tell you,
Maybe 8:30 was a good stop point.
I'm just trying to tell you that I'm asking for Philip and I for 30 days to see if there's traction. If not, I'll come back and we'll add the tethering.
I think the
To the
general
agenda?
consensus is the same, it's just Chris's has more verbiage and Ben's
It's
is
not
more
being,
s- is simple.
it's not being said the same way, but the meaning is
The
the same.
proposed license is postponed for 90 days, right? And he
While
was
he
given, while he talks with the
Right,
county.
Right.
and that's
That's what
common
I said.
consent. You don't need a motion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
When you authorize
You
us
both
for
said
30
it.
and 90 days, then that is. You don't have to have a double
Yeah,
motion.
they both said it
Already
same
been
time.
voted on.
Common consent.
Now, I don't know what kind of, are you good with, y'all, ease
She,
up.
she got me smacking her hand. I didn't do.
Look, man, look. Keep it. Oh, Lord. I told you it's silly I was here.
It's silly season.
It's basketball time. That's what time
All right, I'm
it is.
trying
It's
to get, I'm
basketball
trying to
time.
get you there. I'm trying to
I
get
think
you
we're all
there.
on
You
the
can
same
go.
page.
We're all on the same.
I'm trying.
Yes.
Give me a break. I'm
Again,
trying. Look.
it's consensual.
It
Common
is,
consent.
okay. So we got a motion on the floor, and will you rescind the motion, please?
You gotta vote.
We gotta vote.
You got a 5-2 vote.
It's the same
I
thing
know
that you're
that.
saying,
Okay.
right? It's the
The only
same
thing you
thing.
do now is rescind the motion.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm asking. Will you rescind
Yeah,
the motion,
rescind
please?
it so we can
I'll
revote.
rescind it.
All right. Boom.
It's just a
All right.
Second.
I'm asking for a motion to let us deal with this and report to you no less than 30 days.
Vote against this one too.
Okay?
I thought you said common
It's
consent.
common consent.
Okay, it's
That's-
common
It is, so we don't have to vote.
All right, look, I don't want to get out in front of
He
y'all.
just wanna approve it, he wants to know what you're
And,
doing.
and we're giving you consent.
consent.
We're giving you
Any
common
other
consent.
items to
Monday
come
we will
before the
make the
council?
motion.
Okay,
No,
All right, I'm gonna be,
the proposed ordinance was postponed until today. Okay, it was actually tabled, but postponed to today. If there's no action on it today, we don't need to postpone. I'm just saying, Robert's rules.
Wait. Let's leave it like it is, cause we
Yes,
don't, we'll
yes.
be here all night.
No, we're
Somebody
not.
not gonna get
no, we're
there,
not. I
somebody
do
not
have the
gonna get
authority
there
to
to
adjourn this
I
bad
don't
boy.
get- Did we,
And
did
guess
we
what's
even
getting
vote
ready
to
to happen?
rescind it just now? I'm so lost.
I'll make a motion to rescind the
he
motion.
did, he made the motion, but we didn't
All
get a
those in
vote.
favor to rescind Mr. Page's, motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any more business to come before the town council?
8:39.
I make a motion, this is gonna be a fun video to watch. No, I'm sorry.
Meeting is adjourned at 8:40.
I think we all are on
Hey,
the
look.
same